If you're in search of an ally to help you raise your children as a parent, you ought to consider enrolling them in youth sports because, my friends, it comes with plenty of benefits that are lifelong lasting, and the data bears that out. And today, we'll explore that in greater detail. According to the Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, 73% of parents believe that having their kids participate in sports has positively affected their child's mental health. Additionally, 80% of American parents believe that their child's participation in youth sports has positively affected their physical health. The benefits of participating in youth sports extend beyond the playing field and even beyond the participants themselves. When we look at the economics, here's what we find: a decrease in direct and indirect healthcare costs, collectively estimated at approximately $28 billion per year. Furthermore, 73% of adults who participated in youth sports or engaged in youth activities as a child believe their early involvement helped them build great habits of physical activities, which have paid dividends later in adulthood. And finally, more than half of all adults who engaged in youth sports as adolescents saw a reduction in stress and improved mental health. And icing on this cake include 55% of parents who believe if their child participates in youth sports, it'll improve their academic performance and prospects as they enter the professional portion of their lifetime. This is all positive news for my friend Craig Walls, who's the owner and CEO of Performance Experience. In his current role, he's focused on growing the business and the operational impact of the endeavor. He's coached and trained thousands of athletes to maximize their fullest potential, and Walls believes that athletics is the greatest training ground for developing great habits, responsibility, and accountability. Walls has got over 30 certifications, and he's trained all different types of athletes, including at the Division I and II levels. He lives in the Dallas Metroplex and has a great exposure to what the potential of youth sports really can be. And he joined me this week to have a wide-ranging discussion on the future of the industry, how it's transforming lives, and so much more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Fabulous. So, Greg, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, and I'm super excited to learn about your time in athletics and human development, my friend. Great to see you, and happy Monday to you.
Good to see you. Happy Monday to you.
Absolutely, my friend. And I know as a performance coach, my friend, do you believe, my friend, that athletics are a great way to build both leadership and human development, my friend? I think you believe it's the greatest, one of the greatest ways for human interaction, my friend. So I'm wondering if we can start our conversation as to why you believe that, my friend, and why you think athletics can play a powerful part in our lives. Tell me more, my friend.
I think athletics plays that role just because of the lessons that it allows you to learn. I believe life is going to throw lessons at us. I mean, and they're going to keep recycling those lessons until we get them right or until we make them righteous. So I think athletics is a great way to build the tools and to see success and opportunity to learn those lessons through some amazing experiences. I mean, you learn discipline, you learn hard work, you learn a winning attitude. There are so many different things that the sport itself gives you the opportunity to learn and take those tools off the field, off the court, out of the gym, and into whatever situation that life allows, be it work, be it family, be it leisure, entertainment. I think athletics allows us the opportunity to maximize life through those experiences.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And I know that you teach your athletes that you work with to control their environment in any situation, both in and out of sports, as you just mentioned, my friend, which gives them sort of a sense of accountability when it comes to both their athletics and academics. So what are your thoughts on how we can create superior attitudes for athletes and the importance of creating good habits as athletes as well? What are your thoughts there?
I think it's extremely important. I think it's it's valuable to not just the sport itself, but to life situations. And what I mean when I say control the environment is being able to understand the opportunity to control their own actions, your own responses, and to not always lead with emotion. And I think that the discipline of preparing for something, the importance of your role and being accountable as a teammate or a team member, the things to be coachable, to do things you may not even agree with because you may or may not understand it, but you see that it ends up being for the greater good according to what the goal is. So I think that it allows those opportunities to control that environment or at least learn those lessons through teaching or experience. So when it's time to utilize these skills, you at least have the wherewithal to make a good choice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Greg, I also wanted to talk to you about goal setting and the necessity that you have to have in terms of your intentionality when you set a goal. Because, you know, it's my belief that in life, if you don't have sort of your own sort of internal level of personal expectations, it's hard to reach anyone else's sort of artificial goals that you have for yourself, my friend. So tell me about the importance of goal setting. How do you go about setting great goals and the accountability that comes along with that? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I think setting goals is just a part of life if you want some kind of success. I do. I think it's imperative that we, push ourselves in whatever capacity to accomplish something. And that's what goal setting is. And then to learn to set high goals, and there are exact, or they're precise, or they're direct. They're not general, but they're specific. And to work towards those goals with an understanding of the process, not just setting the goal and expecting to accomplish it because you put it in your mind, you said it, but the steps that you got to take in order to just give yourself a chance to achieve that. I think that alone is important because it builds mental toughness. And because I'm a man, I have testicular fortitude. It gives you an opportunity to stand strong in a few things and to keep pushing towards something. So whether it's team goal, whether it's an individual goal or an individual goal to help the team, I think it's super important that you set goals.
Yeah, and Craig, I'm curious to ask you about the statistics from Project Play, my friend, that reported back in 2023 that 39.8% of children between the ages of 6 and 17 participated in the United States regularly in sports, my friend, or a team sport, which was the highest rate since 2015. However, as you know, the participation in sports can vary based on gender, race, and household income and finances, my friend. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on how we can get more people and more kids involved in sports, and how can we encourage children to involve themselves in sort of that sports environment, my friend, because there are benefits that come from that. So what are your thoughts there?
I would say a really good way to get young people involved, or the community for that matter, involved positively in youth sports is to revive recreational sports and they become more competitive. Recreational sports was the pillar of a lot of athletic communities in the early 90s and towards the late 90s and early 2000s because it was affordable, it was competitive, and then in that area, in that city, in that town, or in that district, those same recreational kids would go compete in middle school and then play in that high school in that area. So that it just builds the community. I think a great way to get more kids involved, especially with the expansion of so many different sports, to get more kids involved is the reviving recreational sports. Getting a better level of competition. It's so because of the youth explosion of AAU sports and select sports and premier sports. That's an explosion of athletes having exposure and the capability to compete at a younger and younger age. With the building of that, we saw the deterioration of recreational sports. But if we want to get more kids involved and it's affordable, it makes more sense in different communities and areas. And then if it be competitive, I think that's lofty, but I think that's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Craig, I'm also curious to ask you about relationship building because sports are a great way to build relationships and be exposed to people that you wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. So, talk to me about the relational benefit of youth sports, my friend, and how important you think that is in building relationships.
Man, I think it's number one. It starts early communication. It starts early conflict. It allows you to work through things as a team member as well as an opponent. It teaches you how to deal with people in a winning or losing situation if it's done properly. Like when I say these things, I say the opportunity to learn is there. A lot of times that opportunity is missed because we trade the lessons for the wins or losses instead of learning the lessons in the wins and losses. You know, I love to compete and I get intense, but we also got to remember sportsmanship and fair play and it not being about people other than the ones that are attempting to compete. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
All right, I'm back.
We're good. And so, Greg, I'm also curious to get your perspective on the financial part of what sports entails. Because, last year, Lending Tree released a study that said 59% of families are hesitant or apprehensive to put their kids in youth sports because of the cost of it, buddy. So, and because it provides financial strain on families. So, what do you think is the key to eliminating the costs that prohibit those families for enrolling their children into youth sports? What are your thoughts there?
You know, I got to be honest. This is a tough one because there is a lot of give and take in the capitalistic world, and youth sports is business in many different situations. Now, to make it affordable, I understand, and that's what we attempt to do all the time. Is what I think we should do, but I don't know if we should eliminate costs because it costs for them to be able to compete. You know, the fields cost, the equipment cost, the uniforms cost. There is a cost entailed with all of it. I think sometimes people don't actually always get what they pay for, which makes it upsetting. And then sometimes the price is more expensive than it probably should be according to the service that's being provided. But for me to say to eliminate cost, I would be a hypocrite because I charge, for my services. We charge for kids to have the opportunity to either train with us or to compete in our leagues. But at the same time, if it was reasonable and affordable and they got the service that was explained to them, I think that's a great way to start. And then afford opportunities through other organizations or sponsorship opportunities that allow for kids who may not have the means to afford it full price, but to be able to be a part of it at a lower cost. That's what I really believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know in your current role, my friend, you help your academy on the business side of things, overseeing the company's growth and expansion, my friend. And I know that you're on a mission to develop as many athletes as you can through the business initiatives and to bring more exposure to the academy that you help run, my friend. So I'm curious to ask you how the mission is going and how your efforts are being received, my friend. Tell me more.
You know what? We're working hard, man, and it's growing every day. We have the league with Coach Brent Springfield. He created an amazing league, elementary sports league, out here in the DFW area in Keller, where we give these athletes the opportunity to play a few sports. Right now, we have flag football. We also have softball coming up. We have a basketball league that we've been, and I'm just happy to be a part of that. And in that is there's development. So it's growing. More kids are being exposed to the opportunity to compete. More families are a part of an affordable situation with constant communication. And then we let the coaches coach and the kids play. So it's the elementary sports league, seed sports, right out here in the DFW. That mission is going the way we like it to go. And we always can use some help, and we always can use followers, and we can always use more athletes to be a part of it. So it's going in the right direction, to answer your question.
Well, fabulous, my friend. And I'm Also curious to ask you about your definition of what it truly means to maximize the full potential of youth athletes' physical, emotional, and mental development. My friend, what do you think are the fundamental keys to doing this successfully and in terms of the fundamental keys to success? What are your thoughts there?
Belief, effort, and consistency. Belief, effort, and consistency. That's how you become successful. It's a bunch of stuff involved in that, but you got to have belief in the God you believe in, belief in yourself, belief in the process, effort. You got to try, you got to put something behind it, and then discipline, the discipline to stay consistent or consistency, continuing down that path, making however many adjustments you need to, learning and failing, and then moving on from that failure into consistent success in that process. That's how you do it. And it's not easy, but I think that's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Craig, can I also ask you about the coach athlete and parent relationship? My brother, he's an assistant sports psychology professor at Missouri State, buddy, and he always talks to me about our open lines of communication between athletes, coaches, and parents, my friend, because I think it's an interwoven web of sort of connective tissue if your student athletes are going to be successful. So talk to me about the student athlete relationship, my friend, and the importance of open communication and how you view a successful student athlete and parent relationship. I'm curious.
Well, you answered it. It's open, transparent communication, and then people understanding the boundaries or the lines. I am the coach. He or she is the player. You are the parent. Like, I have a job to do in this because that's how we got here. We are here through your athlete. We can't make it about ourselves. We can't. It can't be about me. It can't be about the parent. It has to be about the athlete that brought us all together, because that's real. From there, it has to be about the roles and the mission. I'm always trying to win. If I'm coaching a team, if I'm training a kid, I'm working on the process. In that, parents need to understand where that communication lies. I'm going to talk to you about your kid and their progress in this process. I'm gonna always be honest, and I'm only looking for effort and attitude. That's it. You give me effort and attitude, I just want to know how much time we got to get to the goal. On the other side, if I'm dealing with a team, the goal is to maximize the abilities of the team. The best way I can go about that. So I can't make it about me. It can't be about a personal thing between the attitude of the kid, but we got to grow and develop this person in this situation to get to this goal. So in that is open, transparent lines of communication and understanding the roles and the boundaries within those roles. And then you can become great friends throughout that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Craig, I'm also curious to ask you about establishing trust because I know that you've worked with thousands of athletes in terms of their physical, mental, and emotional development. So, my friend, what do you think is the key to establishing a line of trust where when you fail as a coach or a player fails as a player or succeeds as a coach or a player, what do you think is the key to establishing a consistent line of trust, my friend?
Open, transparent, honest lines of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do what you say you're going to do. Show what you say you're going to show. Be who you say you're going to be. That's not always easy because there's feelings involved and you don't want to ruffle feathers, or, you may what you say may not, it may be misinterpreted. So you got to get understanding. And what I've learned in my experience, it's hard for a lot of people to have an open line of communication without feeling like somebody's going to feel some type of way. I think facts over feelings allows for that trust. You know, you may not like me all the time, you may not agree with me, but you know what you're going to get from me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I asked you earlier about parent and child and coach relationships, but I want to drill down specifically on the role of parents and the role that you believe they play in ensuring that their kids have a positive experience in youth sports. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I think parents should parent and, you know, encourage, inform, and not blur those lines getting into a coach space unless they're a coach. You know what I'm saying? That's really the best way I know how to put it. If we allow each other to do our job, so if my job is to work on the team and coach your kid, allow that person to do that job and do that job the best way they can, as long as they're not causing any real physical or emotional harm. If your kid ain't playing because your kid ain't good enough, that's your kid needs to just get better. You know, if you think somebody is in front of your kid and you think it's personal, then let's take a step back and see what it actually is. But it's hard because everybody's kid is their kid, and how they feel about their kid is going to usually outweigh what is, according to others or information or things of that nature. That's my experience. So I think it's imperative that coaches stay in the lane as a coach and an informer, an instructor, and parents work as a parent and involve themselves when they have to involve themselves according to the actions of other players or coaches.
Yeah, fabulous. And Grant, I'm also curious to get your opinion on sort of where your passion and purpose lies in the work you do, my friend. I know I see your stuff behind you. So where does your passion and purpose come from for sports specifically, my friend?
Well, because sports gave me many of the opportunities that I've had in my life. It's still a huge part of my life. I understood at a young age, you know, I was pretty good at a few things. I didn't know how good, how far it would take me, but I knew I could go somewhere with it. And all the places that I've chosen to go, athletics has played a part in getting me there. Um, Traveling across the state, across, you know, the United States for that matter. Sports allowed that opportunity for me. Meeting different people across different cultures and different places, and having great friends to this day. It's like athletics afforded me that opportunity. So it's been a huge part of my life. So that passion comes from the men that gave me that opportunity when I was young. Shout out to all my coaches from Rec, Ronald Woodson, R.I.P. Duck T, Bob Ford, Big Greg Wall Sr., and James Carroll. Like, these guys raised me, you know, raised a bunch of guys like me, affording us that opportunity to be here today. So, I mean, sports has been a part of my life since I can remember my life.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And, you know, Greg, I just want to share just something very quickly about myself. So, my friend, I was born with cerebral palsy, and I found out at the age of 9, buddy, that I would not be able to walk for the duration of my life because of the severity of my disability. But I went to school originally to become a sports reporter because I wanted to still be involved in some capacity in sports. So I'm curious, how do you think sports can provide an inclusive connective tissue for all people of all abilities? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
What we're doing right now. It's what we're doing right now. You know, you may not be reporting sports, but you are literally interviewing about your passion. And you're interviewing somebody who gets to speak about exactly what we're talking, what brought us to this point. Without athletics, you and I aren't even having this conversation, my friend. We don't even meet each other. We don't even get through the email because it was the athletics that drew us together. It was the opportunity to fellowship over sports that gave me an opportunity to meet you from wherever you are. So I think that's a great thing. I'll say it like this. My dad, God rest his soul, my dad wanted to be a scientist, and because he believed, you know, he could find a cure for stuff. He was a super bright dude. But I found out my dad wanted to be a scientist, and he doesn't think, it's a long story behind that, but he doesn't think that, you know, he achieved that. But my old man worked at Stennis Space Center for NASA.
Well, that's as close to a scientist that you can come to, right?
Exactly. You see what I mean? So
Absolutely.
He might not have had the coat on, and he might not, but I mean, it's you get what you get what brings you. Your passion will reveal itself, just not the way you see it in your mind all the time.
Well, I always say everything in life happens for a reason, my friend. And I have to tell you, I got three questions left for you. And the first has to do with the connection between sports and mentorship, my friend. I know that you're someone who believes that your role in sports is to mentor the next generation. So, what do you think is the correlation between sports and positive mentorship? What are your thoughts there?
I'll answer it like this. So one of the best coaches I ever had was Chris Thurman. Chris Thurman coached me at TCU. I was TCU from 97 to 2000. It's my playing years. I still talk to Coach Chris Thurman today. He is a mentor of mine. I appreciate him so much for this reason. He treated us, although he was the authority and he was the coach. And back then, coaches yelled and screamed. It was intense, and it's different today. Trust me. He treated us like men, and we understood he was the authority, but he never treated us like he was better than us or bigger than us, or his title was more than us. We understood his authority, but he treated us like men. That's the kind of role athletics plays in mentorship in my life, and I think it does in others' lives. And then you know that when you see kids graduate and they still call you, you know, you go to their weddings and you get to watch them grow up, and you know, you watch them play in college and you watch them graduate from college. And you're continually or consistently in their lives. I think that role there is tremendous. That's the role athletics plays in mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And Craig, as you know, less than 2% of athletes will go pro in professional sports. So I'm curious about the conversations you have with youth athletes about their lives after sports, because that's equally as important, isn't it?
Extremely important, and it's a conversation that every athlete needs to have, because it's what happens when it's over. If you are a competitor, if you are a true competitor, if you've been playing since you was 4 and you were high level since you was 6 and you was elite since you was 10 and you college and you was this and you did all of these things, you had all these accolades, you played in all these playoffs and these tournaments and these championships, and then you're 29 You ain't playing no more.
Mm-hmm.
That's a conversation I think every athlete needs to have. I'm still working through that. So I'm honest with it. It's you have to prepare yourself for when it ends, regardless of when it ends. You have to know some things. Like for me, I say all the time, I understood I was smart. When I was in college, I understood I could do stuff. Like I wasn't really concerned about what I was going to do. I knew I could do something. But when you're not playing, what are you actually doing? Because it's for a lot of us, it's more than just playing. You're not really just playing. You're competing. This is what you do. And then what do you do when you don't do that anymore? That's a question for all good athletes. So, you can imagine the level of, an elite 10, 12-year veteran in anything. And then he stops. I still have those conversations with athletes.
Well, I think it's an ongoing conversation, my friend. And, I'm curious to ask you about your projection on how youth sports will continue to grow within the next 5 to 10 years. What are your thoughts there?
Explosive, with the explosion of flag football and more young females competing in youth sports. It's about to be explosive. I'm excited to see it. The level of competition is high. These athletes, they're training at a young age, so the level of skill is higher. We just need to build better fundamentals. But it's about to explode. I think it's great, and if it gets them off the couch and it gets the screen out of their face for at least a little while, and it gets them in front of other people, interacting with people, regardless of race, creed, color, boys, girls, it don't matter. It's about to explode. It gives them a chance to understand how to be people if we do it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg, I know you live in the Dallas area, my friend, and I know that youth football and the youth sports is big down there, my friend. So tell me about the advantages of living where you live and why youth sports is so important to the culture down there, buddy.
Yeah, because it's a big state, man. It's the biggest state in the union, man. And you got good athletes everywhere, and you got tournaments every weekend all over the place, and you see thousands of athletes competing. So it's fantastic how it really is. It's the opportunity to watch kids grow, develop, learn, play, and do what they like to do at the highest levels for as long as they can do it. I just want them to get more from it than just touchdowns or home runs or because it offers so many things.
Different things, absolutely. And my final question for you has to do with life and legacy, my friend, and how you want your life and your legacy to be defined.
Man, I've been saying this for years. I'm working on it. I've made enough mistakes trying to do it that I'll figure it out one day. But I just want to be able to, go out and stand in a place and see a program of mine in action and nobody know who I am. Right now, when I'm running the program, everybody knows who I am, and I can only go as far as I can go. I want to see how far it can go. I want to see how far this stuff can go. So that's what I'd like to leave.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And just very quickly, because you brought it up couple of different times, and I believe that the explosion of women's youth sports is vitally important. So I'm just curious to quickly get your thoughts on how the conversation when it comes to women is improving when it comes to youth sports. What are your thoughts there?
The conversation about women in youth sports, what?
How it's evolving over time and how it's improved, my friend.
It, listen, exposure and skill and just giving these young ladies the opportunity to compete has allowed everybody to see that we've been missing something for a while. I am literally excited about where flag football is going. I'm excited to watch college basketball, girls basketball. I mean, they get after it. They flat get after it. And to have that exposure and to see the high level of competition and skill, I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I got nieces, you know. I've trained girls. I'd love to see them, and they play in athletics. I'd love to see them shine as bright as they possibly can, and on the biggest stages that they can be afforded. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Greg, tell me if people want to get connected with you or the great work that you do, what's the most efficient way they can do that, my friend?
Well, the most efficient way they can reach me at an email, and I love to give it to people got questions, comments, or whatnot. They can reach me at info@pesportsandrec.com. But if you want to see what we do, you want to shoot me a message, you can see us on Facebook at The Performance Experience, or it might be the New Performance Experience, and then you see us on Instagram at Performance Experience. Those are two great ways to get with us. And YouTube, our YouTube page has exercises, tips, drills, and things of that nature for our developmental programs, and that is at Performance Experience as well. So that's how you can reach me, bro.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, as I told you, as a former sports reporter, I always enjoy talking about the development of youth sports and how it's expanded over the years, my friend. I think you're doing great work in the space, my friend, and I want to encourage you to continue the good work. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me. It's most appreciated, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Definitely.